She was not born into royalty. She carried no crown, no riches, no armies, only a quiet strength shaped by hardship. An orphan raised in exile. A foreign girl living under the shadow of the world's most powerful empire. Yet she was chosen. Not by coincidence, not by outward beauty alone, but positioned by divine purpose, hidden behind palace walls for such a time as this. While kings feasted from golden goblets and nobles whispered in secret halls, a silent battle was forming. One that would not be won with swords or chariots, but with fasting, courage, and the boldness to speak when silence could cost everything. Her name was Esther. And this is not only the story of a queen, it is the story of how God saved a nation through the most unlikely of heroes. In the days of King Xerxes, who ruled from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces in all, his power stretched across the known world. From his throne in Susa, he reigned with absolute authority. To display his greatness, the king held a lavish feast that lasted 180 days. Nobles, princes, generals, and officials from every province gathered in the royal courts. Gold vessels shone on the tables, royal wine flowed without limit. When those months concluded, Xerxes opened the palace gates to everyone in Susa for a 7-day banquet set in the palace gardens. Marble pillars, silver rings, white linen drapes, nothing was spared. At the same time, Queen Vashti held her own feast for the women of the palace. But on the 7th day, when the king was filled with wine, he made a prideful demand: that Queen Vashti be brought before the crowd wearing her royal crown, so her beauty could be displayed to the guests. Vashti refused. She would not present herself before a drunken audience. The king's pride was wounded. His anger burned. Advisors were summoned, and one named Memucan warned, "If the queen can disobey, all wives will follow her example." They urged the king to remove her. A decree was sent throughout the empire. Every household would be ruled by its own man, and Vashti was dismissed from her position as queen. Yet even in these political decisions, an unseen hand was at work, guiding events toward a greater purpose. As time passed, the king's anger faded, and he remembered Vashti, her beauty, her boldness, and the decree that banished her. Seeing this, his attendants suggested a solution. Let beautiful young women be sought from every province. After their preparation, the king may choose a new queen. The king agreed. Across all 127 provinces, messengers were sent. Young women were brought to the palace, each prepared for an entire year before seeing the king. Among them was Hadassah, known in Persia as Esther, a Jewish orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai, a young woman taught to walk in humility and wisdom, a young woman instructed to keep her identity hidden. Placed under the care of Haggai, keeper of the women, Esther immediately found favor, not through demand or pride, but through a quiet, graceful spirit. When Esther's moment came to stand before the king, she carried dignity, not fear. And when King Xerxes saw her, he was captivated. He placed the crown upon her head. A royal banquet followed. A holiday was proclaimed. Gifts were sent throughout the empire. Yet no one in the palace knew she was a Jew. No one knew that God had placed his servant in the highest court, not to receive honor, but to stand in the gap for his people. Mordecai, who raised Esther, remained at the king's gate, a place of officials, guardians, and decision-makers. One day, he overheard 2 palace guards, Bigthan and Teresh, plotting to kill King Xerxes. Mordecai sent word to Esther. Esther informed the king, giving Mordecai full credit. An investigation proved the charge true. The conspirators were executed, and the event was written into the royal chronicles. But strangely, Mordecai received no reward. His act of loyalty was recorded only as ink on a page, soon forgotten by men, but not forgotten by God. After some time, a man named Haman the Agagite was promoted above all other officials. Everyone was commanded to bow before him, but Mordecai refused. Learning that Mordecai was a Jew, Haman's anger grew into hatred. He did not want to punish just one man. He wanted the entire Jewish people wiped out. Casting lots, called Purim, Haman chose a day for their destruction. Then he deceived the king, saying, "There is a people who live differently. They do not follow your laws." The king, unaware of the full truth, gave Haman his signet ring. A decree went out to all 127 provinces. Every Jew, young and old, would be destroyed on the 13th day of the 12th month. Susa fell into confusion. Across the empire, the Jews fasted, wept, and mourned. When Esther learned Mordecai was in mourning, she sent a messenger. Mordecai's message came back. "You must go to the king and plead for your people." But Esther hesitated. "Anyone who enters the king's presence without being summoned is put to death unless he extends the golden scepter. And I have not been called in 30 days. Mordecai replied, "Do not think you will escape because you are in the palace. If you remain silent, deliverance will arise from another place, but you and your family will perish. And who knows if you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther's fear shifted into faith. She answered, "Gather all the Jews in Susa, fast for me for 3 days. I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish." On the 3rd day, dressed in her royal robes, Esther approached the inner court. The king saw her and extended the golden scepter. "What is your request, Queen Esther?" he asked gently. "Even up to half the kingdom, it will be granted." Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At the meal, she made no petition. Instead, she invited them again the next day. That night, the king could not sleep. To pass the time, he ordered the royal chronicles to be read. There it was, Mordecai's long-forgotten act of loyalty. The king realized that the man who saved his life had never been honored. At that very moment, Haman entered the court to ask for permission to hang Mordecai. Before he could speak, the king asked, "What should be done for the man the king delights to honor?" Thinking the king meant him, Haman described an extravagant honor fit for royalty. The king replied, "Do everything you have said, for Mordecai the Jew." Haman's pride shattered. He was forced to lead Mordecai through the streets, proclaiming his honor with his own humiliated voice. At the second banquet, King Xerxes asked again, "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" With courage burning in her heart, Esther declared, "Grant me my life and spare my people, for we have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated." The king demanded, "Who would dare do such a thing?" Esther pointed and said, "The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman." The king rose in fury. Haman begged Esther for mercy, falling upon her couch. At that moment the king returned and saw Haman near Esther and cried, "Will he even assault the queen in my own house?" Haman was seized immediately. He was hanged on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. The king gifted Haman's estate to Esther. Mordecai was placed over it. The king gave Mordecai the royal signet ring, granting him authority. But one problem remained. Haman's decree could not be undone. So the king allowed Mordecai to write a new decree, sealed with the royal ring. The Jews were permitted to gather and defend themselves against any who attacked them. Across the empire, hope arose. On the appointed day, the Jews stood together. With courage and the king's support, they defended themselves and overcame their enemies. Where there had been fear, now there was light. Where there had been mourning, there was joy. The Jews established a yearly celebration called Purim, named after the lots Haman used, a feast of remembrance, a celebration of God's unseen hand. Mordecai became second only to King Xerxes, honored for his wisdom and integrity. Though God's name is never mentioned in the Book of Esther, his fingerprints cover every moment, every risk, every reversal, every victory. The story reminds us, even when God seems silent, he is never absent. Even when the odds feel impossible, he is already working behind the scenes. And perhaps you too are where you are today for such a time as this. If you found this documentary inspiring, please like the video, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button so more people can discover these powerful biblical stories.